Once upon a time, in the heart of West Africa, there was a kingdom called Mali. This kingdom was incredibly wealthy, and its king, Mansa Musa, was known as the richest man in history. Mansa Musa didn't start as a wealthy king. He became the ruler in 1312 after the previous king, Abu Bakr II, went on a voyage across the Atlantic Ocean and never came back. Mansa Musa inherited a kingdom that was rich in gold, ivory, and salt because of Mali's control over important trade routes across the Sahara Desert. Mansa Musa was a devout Muslim, and one of his greatest achievements was his pilgrimage to Mecca, which is called the Hajj. In 1324, he began this journey with thousands of soldiers, slaves, and servants, along with camels carrying a lot of gold. The journey was long and difficult, crossing deserts and mountains, but Mansa Musa was determined to fulfill his religious duty. Along the way, he stopped in various cities and towns, giving away gold to the poor and building mosques and schools. His generosity was famous, and stories of his wealth spread far and wide. As Mansa Musa and his caravan traveled across the Sahara, they were met by curious onlookers and grateful recipients of his gifts. The caravan traveled for weeks, with Mansa Musa leading the way on his majestic camel, dressed in fine silk robes and surrounded by his entourage. Finally, after months of travel, Mansa Musa arrived in Mecca. He made a grand entrance, riding his camel through the streets, followed by his retinue and carrying bags of gold to distribute to the poor. The people of Mecca were astonished by the wealth and generosity of this African king, and his pilgrimage became the talk of the town. Mansa Musa spent several weeks in Mecca, performing the rituals of the Hajj and praying at the sacred sites. He gave away so much gold that the local economy was thrown into chaos, and the price of gold plummeted for years afterward. But Mansa Musa didn't care about the economic consequences of his generosity. He was fulfilling his religious duty and spreading the wealth of his kingdom to those in need. When Mansa Musa returned to Mali from his pilgrimage to Mecca, he was determined to use his wealth and newfound knowledge to improve his kingdom. He embarked on a series of ambitious projects aimed at promoting education, Islam, and culture throughout Mali. One of Mansa Musa's most significant achievements was the construction of mosques and schools. He commissioned the building of mosques in Timbuktu, Gao, and other cities, which became centers of Islamic learning and scholarship. These mosques attracted scholars, poets, and artists from across the Muslim world, making Mali a beacon of culture and enlightenment. Mansa Musa also established libraries and universities where scholars could study the Quran, Islamic law, astronomy, and other subjects. These institutions attracted students from far and wide, further enhancing Mali's reputation as a center of learning. In addition to promoting education, Mansa Musa also worked to expand Mali's borders and influence. He launched several military campaigns, conquering cities and territories to the north and west of Mali. These conquests not only expanded Mali's wealth and resources but also spread Islam to new regions. Mansa Musa's wealth and generosity were legendary, and he continued to distribute gold and gifts to the poor and needy throughout his kingdom. He also funded the construction of hospitals where the sick could receive treatment free of charge. Under Mansa Musa's rule, Mali flourished as never before. Trade routes expanded, bringing goods and ideas from across Africa, Europe, and the Middle East. Timbuktu became a major trading hub known for its markets and cultural exchanges. Mansa Musa ruled Mali for 25 years until his death in 1337. His reign is remembered as a golden age in Mali's history, a time of prosperity, learning, and cultural exchange. His pilgrimage to Mecca remains one of the most famous in history, and his legacy lives on in the rich cultural heritage of West Africa.